Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Well, we are going to talk about something that is very important in relationships, and she is somebody who helps guys navigate relationships, guys looking to find great relationships, maybe the keeper forever, long term,
Yeah.
right? The true
Yes.
connection. And today we're going to talk about affection and everything that goes along with that in your relationships or finding them. She is Tamara from True Connection and back with us. Welcome. How you doing?
Hi. Oh, I'm so glad to talk about this today because it's such, a pivotal topic in every relationship and going about it the wrong way. If you're looking for genuine love and a long-term lasting relationship, yeah, you can really mess it up in the beginning.
It's so funny you were saying this because I'm trying to think of the way it was worded, but there was a post in a singles group I read this morning on Facebook, and it was something to the effect of, what were your thoughts after your last one night stand or something like that?
Oh,
Something related to that. I could scroll back and see, but it was about one night stands,
mhm.
and everybody had a different take on it. Some were funny, of course. But most women, at least in this group, to my surprise, and there's like 4,000, um, a lot of them were okay with it as long as it was good. That seemed to be the general consensus.
Okay.
That's kind of what it was. It was,
Yeah.
and it's like knowing ahead of time, going with your gut that it's going to be okay.
Mhm.
I was kind of surprised. I was kind of surprised, and I'm not
Yeah.
judging either way. I'm just sharing.
Yeah.
But
Well, and I think too, after you like, there's a certain age that you get to too, where you're like, I really want to enjoy this. I want to learn how to enjoy this. I want to learn more about my body and really just enjoy the sex part as opposed to making love. And so, yeah, they just kind
yeah,
of, I mean, that thing about the women in their 40s and older, it's true. Yeah.
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 But you know what? All right. So I don't mean to, put a kibosh on all of this, but after a while of that,
Yes.
it gets old.
Well, and you're just ruining any chances you have of having something beautiful on long term because sex gives you a sense of artificial closeness because you release five hormones when you're having sex, if it's good sex, that is. Otherwise, you're just literally running out the door. But that just creates this artificial bonding, and then that's how you get enveloped into a relationship that's not real and you don't have an actual connection because you're in this romantic phase of just chemistry. And that's why I
Hmm.
always say too, chemistry grows with time. I mean, you can't actually just decide if someone's a good match for you based on chemistry, because then everyone you had a night stand with, that chemistry that took you to bed, you'd still be with them. It's not an
Yeah.
indicator.
Oh yeah.
Not
100%,
Yeah.
100%. And what I just said was more of the you're you're doing that with the intent of not a long-term relationship.
Yes, right. Right.
And whether
Yeah.
whether it's somebody leading the other one on to think that it is a long-term relationship or whatever, if that's your intent, it does.
Mhm.
I feel it gets old after a while. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
because you realize, well, it's just that something's
Hmm.
missing from that, and like the true
Hmm.
connection, I guess it might be.
Right. And all the other intimacies. I mean, there's four intimacies. So physical is just one. There's emotional, spiritual, intellectual. And so if you really want to grow a true connection with someone and develop, that requires time and effort into all the intimacies. And then it's really going to be magical and you guys have some real potential. So let's start with kissing, because that alone is a big debate, which just shocks me. I mean, people are afraid to go in for the kiss.
Okay, all right. So we're on a date, and is it the first one? Is it the second date? And it's also knowing whether it's okay. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I got lots of questions. I'm going to just throw it to you and before I go there.
So you just see how it plays out during the date. Is she making eye contact with you, looking up through her eyelashes, trying to reach out, little like touches on your arm, your wrist, or
Hmm.
leaning towards you, leaning in, really engaged in conversation, really attentive. And so then you walk out. This is a first, second, or third date because a lot of women don't kiss on the first or second date. And so don't be offended if she pulls away. She'll say other reassuring things to let you know she's interested, like, I had such a great time, and says yes to the second date. And you'll get reassurances in other ways, like we were talking about the love languages last week. But women just kind of, some, not all, have that policy. So if you get out
Hmm.
to the parking lot, she lingers, she's playing with her keys. The, scene from Hitch might be coming to mind. She's standing at her car door and she's just not going home. That's a sign. She's standing close to you. She's in proximity. She wants to be near you because the woman that doesn't want to kiss is going to slowly back away to her car, say thank you as she's walking away. There's going to be signs that the date's over. But if
Hmm.
everything went well and she pulls away and walks away and you really like her, ask her out again. If she doesn't kiss on the second date, that's okay. And then just play it by ear. But what I'm shocked at is the number of guys that say, I don't want to kiss her because I'm afraid of non-consent. Okay, well, I didn't know that was such a thing, honestly. That women like
I
strong
feel
objections to kissing, but
I, I feel it's partly today's society
yeah,
where you're on a little bit of a guard there.
yeah,
Um, is this okay? Well, first of all, I've often heard never ask if you can kiss.
never.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no.
Um,
You're walking forward with your masculine energy. And so what you do to prevent the consent debate, wondering, and not wanting, and sincerely not wanting to take advantage, is you lean in 90%, she leans in the other 10. That's how you remedy that problem. You're not going all the way in. Does she step when you start moving forward and moving, does she move in the rest of the way? If she doesn't, then you wait till your second or third date.
um, so my remedy on that is at the end of the date, and if it feels right, maybe you're not seeing the signs of lean-ins or anything like that. I just say, I'm giving you a big hug.
Yeah.
And I just do it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that because it's not a kiss. And then at that moment, you're close. Now I got you close.
Hmm.
And if you're feeling it, and also, we do the Steve trademark nuzzle on the neck, and we see where we go with that. And if it feels
Yeah.
right, then a quick kiss may come after, and that might lead to a longer one, and maybe a longer one, or it just might be a
Hmm.
hug, and then you kind of leave it at that. Um, Maybe there's another date, and then you see where you go from there. But
Right.
I think it's important to, on that first date, to kind of get an idea where you're at there.
Hmm.
Just kind of feel it
Yeah.
out. No pun intended, but
Yeah.
just get an
Yeah.
idea.
Right. Well, and you could, if you aren't sure and maybe you don't want to kiss on the first date, you could kiss her hand, you could kiss her on the cheek, hug. Yeah, there's other ways to
I
show
wouldn't
your
do on the hand though.
interest.
The hand is not me. It's just kind of cheesy to me. I
Yeah.
wouldn't go there. Um, I just the hug thing. Who doesn't want a hug? You meet
Yeah. Yes.
you see your cousin or whatever. Yeah, everybody hugs. So
Yeah.
it's a safe way to get it out of the way. And then if there's more going to follow, then you're already close. That's the setup for whatever could
Yeah.
come next. No expectations whatsoever. Um,
Right.
and then it
Right.
could be the time where the guy doesn't want to kiss. Like, man, I'm not feeling
Yes.
this. I don't know
Yep.
if there's going to be a
Yep.
second date, which is probably one of the most awkward things that you could be feeling
Hmm.
in a date where you just don't want to.
Right. Well, and you're giving the same cues then, right, with your language and, oh, I had a really nice time with you and I'm so glad we met. And then you're walking away. So you're giving the same cues as the woman would, and also not showing any affection, right? You're not putting your arm around her as you walk out of the restaurant or holding her hand or any
Sure.
of those little gentlemanly, and touches. But I hug people hello, like right out of it, like at first greeting, I hug people hello, and that's up to you too. I mean, to me, then I'm trying to get a sense of their love language, and I'm also trying to break the ice, and I'm also just trying to see, just establish some comfort, right? Because we're both nervous.
Give
Yeah.
me that
So kiss,
again. Give me that again, Tamara. So right out of the gate, there's a kiss at
right?
the beginning.
Hug. Did I
A
say
hug.
kiss? Hug.
Oh, I
Hug.
might have misheard you. Um,
No,
yeah, and
I
you know
did have
what?
that happen once, and I was like, well, we just checked that box.
You know what? You know what? In all fairness, I've done it in the beginning as opposed to the end. But
Yeah.
and I'll always there's a reason for it. And I'll always say
Yes.
something like, we've been talking a long time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we've gotten close just by texting. I'm giving you a hug. And I mean it.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, again,
Yeah.
you meet somebody's friend of a friend and you're going to shake their hand or give them a hug, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
might be. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's you got to feel
Yeah.
it out. You got to feel it out, I guess.
Yeah. Hugs take the awkwardness away, and it just like starts you off on a more flirty vibe right from the first moment. So yeah, I love that.
Hmm. All right,
Yeah.
all right, so we've gotten there.
Okay.
Where do we go
So
from here?
another mistake I find a lot of people make, and this is men and women, just want to go to each other's houses. I mean, on the second date, I want to cook for you. You know, a man will say, come on over and I'll cook for you because he's really proud of his culinary skills. Okay, that's a bad idea for so many reasons. Number one is you're putting her on the defensive, right? She doesn't know after one date if she's safe with you. And this is really the
Hmm.
example I find most. Second date, guy wants her to come over. She doesn't know if she feels safe with you. She doesn't know if she wants to know your address. You're putting all of these like spidey sense activators, safety issues going off in her head. You do not want to do that to a woman. You want her to grow in safety with you because safety's subconsciously the number one thing a woman is looking for. And secondly, she doesn't give a damn about your culinary skills yet. And third, what it looks like, and I know this sounds bad, but it looks like you don't want to like romance her and take her out. You think cooking at home is really romantic. Well, because it is after a while. But that early on, it looks like you don't want to pay for dinner. It looks like you don't want to make the effort to go out. And then the third most substantial complication is you are, this is a declarative sentence, you are going to get so much more carried away physically than you would if you're out to dinner, you're watching live music, you're, you know, having a wine tasting somewhere. You are going to move so many steps. Think high school, all the steps between like kissing and sex. You're going to advance so many steps and you're going to regret it just because it's going to feel
Hmm.
race-like to you. It's going to feel so advanced. And then think of how she's going to leave if you're both really sincerely looking for potentially the one a long-term relationship. You may or may not have regrets. She will likely have regrets when she starts processing how it went. And then she's like, what's our third date going to be like then? Where are we going to go there? And are we going to go out? And how are we going to like backtrack to the place I really want us to be physically? So it's just a nightmare. Like I would say, don't go back to each other's houses till you both feel safe. You know, you're going to ask her this, of course, if she wants to do this, and hopefully she feels comfortable saying no if that's the
Hmm.
case. But like fifth date at the earliest, like you just need to be around
Yeah.
each other. You just need to be in proximity and experience different things and get to know each other and take the worry or potential for sex off the table for whatever both your standards are. But what I can tell you is that the man needs to make the decision before the date. Here's what I'm going to do. Because when you get caught up in the thrill and the moment and the romance and how beautiful she is, it's really hard to think, isn't it? And so before the date, you're going to decide here's all I'm going to do tonight. Hardcore boundary. And then when she sees a man with restraint and care, and this is a form of protection, right? For the two of you, you're protecting the relationship from going too far too fast. That's wildly sexy. She's going to be really turned on by that. So take
Hmm.
that in. You having restraint at any point in the relationship, like let's say you just finished dinner, you're making out, it's date 8, you're not ready to have sex yet because you want it to be making love. Yeah, that's wildly sexy to a woman that you can stop, look out for the two of you, think it's not right yet, and she's like, oh, he's so romantic, he's so protective, he's so in it for me and us and the relationship and our future.
I
Yeah.
totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm actually uncomfortable what you just said with the second date, come over to my place and let's cook.
Yeah.
It's coming from
Yeah.
assumably a good place, but
Yeah.
it's just not, it's a bad idea. It just
Yes.
and the
Yeah.
only thing I will say in terms of going to somebody's place early in the dating, um early in dating, like second, third date, is if there's a reason and there's other people there. Like,
Yes.
for
Yes.
example,
Hmm.
hey, we're gonna go to a concert and you want to we're gonna tailgate at my place, or I'm having a
Hmm.
barbecue and your friends are gonna be here and I'd love you to be here. Again,
Yeah.
that does get us into the territory of what we talked about last time we got
Yes.
together
Yeah.
in terms of explaining who this person is and all of that. Things
Right.
come up, you gotta, refer
Hmm.
back, but so you got to kind of figure it all out. But if it feels right, but only with other
Yeah.
people around.
Well, and I mean, the truth is, one of the things that I do in my program is I help people just be okay being single. So, like in that case of it's you haven't had a second date and there's a barbecue, you're
Mhm.
okay going by yourself. You're not bringing her. It's not time. It's not the right opportunity, the right place. I mean, you're going to a major concert. Well, then just the two of you go. You don't meet up with everybody else because it just throws off the dynamics a little bit too soon. And it's not about the two of you. The second and third date really is just to decide, do I want another date? So it really just does need to be about the two of you because you can't focus on it's like going to a sports bar on a date. I'm like you can't hear each other. It's wildly distracting. There's all sorts of craziness going on. Those loud environments or chaotic environments, yeah, not good for a date.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So that we're getting closer.
Yes. Well, and so you've got to decide what your relationship intentions are long-term relationship, and you've got to decide, I want it to be making love or am I okay with just sex? It is really difficult to go from deciding you're okay with sex to then growing it into something else because your intentions aren't quite there and might not match hers. So another thing to be really mindful of, don't go away until you're exclusive because then you've got the bed problem. If you two are at a distance or long distance, if she's coming to your place, then let her sleep in another bed because again, the temptations, I totally get it. They're there. It's just going to go too far. So just set boundaries before yourself, before she even arrives. Take the guessing out of it, the awkwardness out of it, because if I came to New York to meet someone, I can either stay in a hotel or a separate room, but our first date's not going to end in bed and hoping that we just can cuddle. It's not going to happen. It's just not.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
so those boundaries are really important. Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's
Uh,
okay to wait. There
yeah.
is no magical standard for I have to hurry up and sleep with this woman by, our sixth date or our 10th date or what. I mean, but what you don't want to do is go in with, we're just going to proceed according to our feelings and how it feels right. No, conscious dating is dating with intention and really thinking it through.
Hmm.
So you can end up with someone really special or maybe the woman of your dreams because you have thought it through. So before you do get on the plane, you do get in the car, you've thought, here's all that's going to happen. Here's our plan. Here's what we're going to do. And again, that really makes her feel cared for. Like if months go by, she's going to start wondering, you're just going to have to talk it out. You're going to have to just say, here's my philosophy on sex, affection, making love. Like I'll just talk about it with people conceptually when, I start seeing someone. So it's not personal. This is just my belief. This is how I proceed. This is how I handle myself and protect myself. And it's just out there. And it's not like in the moment I'm having this conversation, like, well, we've already talked about it.
How do you how do you go from how do you do the blend
Mhm.
between conscious dating and not overthinking it? How do you get
Oh,
somewhere in the middle
because
there?
you only have to take yourself out of the dream cloud, the romance, the really zesty, fun chemistry. Can't wait to see her flirtatious, butterflies for like 10 minutes. So, in the beginning, before you're doing all the firsts, as you're doing all the firsts, you're going to want to think it through. And this is also with going through your needs list, your deal breakers list, because of course you don't want to proceed with a woman. She's got a deal breaker. It's done. It's over. So as you're going, each date in the beginning, you're going to relook at your lists, and then you're going to just have your plan and then go right back into the fog, because intellectually, like, you're going to remember, here's my standard, here's my deal, here's my plan, and then stay in the delicious fog the rest of the time. I'm not trying to take you out of that, scrumptious, delicious madness of falling for someone, but it will save you years of months, years of time, years of being with the wrong person, right? Because
Mm,
you had that artificial hormonal connection in the beginning, especially if you orgasm, and then if you like then proceed based on that artificial foundation, months could go by, years could go by, and then you've got maybe children involved and career and friendship connections, and then she's friends with your
and you got nothing.
parents, and then
And you got nothing in the end when you realize
right.
that, yeah,
Just wasted time. Yeah.
yeah.
So this really will save you years of time and money if you do conscious dating practices. So I work through all these steps with you in my one-on-one coaching and in my group coaching. You get a complete program
Mm.
of how to go through each phase and how to be happy alone while you're waiting for her. So you're content, right? Which is also wildly sexy. You're comfortable in your own skin. You're ready. You're open. You're chatty. You're flirtatious. You're open to meeting someone, yeah, that's really magnetic.
Do you feel that there's a solid number of relationships that it's hooked by the physical,
Yeah,
and then that leads into life,
yeah,
and they were together and things were okay, but it was really the
mm,
physical thing that was the thread through
mhm,
all of it.
yeah,
And then where I'm going with that is, then it ended, whether
right,
2, 5, 10 years, whatever, 20, whatever it was.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
that one thing that it was the physical thing.
hmm
Mm.
And the physical can fade out right away, but it also can like be really hot the whole time. Like, I can't leave. This is magical. Like, this is out of the universe. So, yeah, it is hard to step away and really look, but that's why conscious dating is the whole dating process. And once you get into a relationship, because of course you've got to decide every 2 weeks, once a month, you've got to sit down and really consciously think about where the two of you are at. And once you're in a relationship, the beautiful thing is you can have that conversation together. And then you need to have it on your own too, to really like settle in with yourself. How am I really doing, feeling? What do we want to work on? Or is it time to walk away?
That is
Yeah.
the most toughest question I think you can answer for yourself. How do you know when it's
Mhm.
time to walk away? Where,
Right.
yeah, there could be so
Yeah.
many great things, and then, maybe
hmm
one or two things, and then you gotta,
Yeah.
am I willing to trade off all of this?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Really is.
And that comes a lot of times that comes with maturity, but that's why I'm providing tools. If you don't have a lot of relationship experience, you've been married 15 years and now you're dating again, you don't have a lot of to refer back to. So that's why the tools are so helpful, so that you're not just experimenting for 5 years trying to figure this out on your own. And then you still don't have, someone, and you've been through all these disastrous situations and been hurt a lot. It's hard to pick yourself up after a
Mm.
lot of, yeah,
That's
broken
key,
hearts. Yeah.
especially, and we're just about out of time, especially if you've been with the same person for a lot of years. I don't want to
Yeah.
say you're out of
Yeah.
practice in terms of relationships, but you kind
hmm
of are in terms of,
Yeah.
feelings and, yeah, call tomorrow. That's it.
Just
There it
being
is.
everything's new with someone else.
And awkward,
Yeah.
and can be. It can be
Yes.
awkward to yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
The whole thing's awkward when you first start dating. I mean, that's one of the first things I ask people if I discover they're new to the world of dating. And I just ask them, well, how does it feel? Does it feel weird being back out there again and dating and sitting across the table from someone new? Just open the door, for that conversation. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird
Oh,
for
oh, for
everyone when
sure.
you,
And I'm sure you've heard this before. It turns into like, feels like a job interview. Like every time
yeah.
I'm going to meet another one. That's
hmm
Thursday night. And then another one is Saturday. And it's like, all right, yeah, same questions. And and you don't want to do that, but it kind of turns into that.
hmm
I think
Yes.
when it's not that, you found one.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. When you can just talk, and if you don't have chemistry, but you have the chat, just let it go on. Like, go out on more dates, more. Never stop going out with someone until it's an absolute no. Keep going.
Mm.
Yeah, it could really develop. That chemistry can develop. And we
Yeah.
all know that because the more you got to know someone, the more you couldn't wait to rip their clothes off. So yeah, we've all learned that. It's just hard when when you're on a first, second, third date to put yourself back in that position and remember, be patient.
Tap the brakes, guys.
Yeah. Just be patient. It might happen. It might just, she says something and it sparks something in you and then yeah.
How do we find you?
You can find me on my website, so trueconnection.coach, COACH, or you can find me on Instagram at Tamara True Connection. Yeah, would love to help you figure this out.
And what I love is I don't have anybody to ask these questions of. Like you're in, and it could be, time is ticking. I met somebody, I don't know what to do, and there you are. Yeah.
Yes. So once you're in the relationship, what do I do? How do we progress? Yeah, and you can set standards for yourself too. Like, I'm not going to do these things or proceed to making love until we're exclusive.
Yeah.
Or take her, away for the weekend until we're exclusive. So you get to set your own boundaries. And I would agree. Those are great boundaries to set. Yeah, you want to set yourself up for success once you find someone.
It's right there. She's got all the advice, and I'm a guy. I agree with it. Been there, done that, living it. It's trueconnections.coach, correct? Trueconnection.coach.
One singular, trueconnection.coach.
It should be one singular. That's what you're trying to find. That's what we're talking about here. Long term.
There we go. Yeah.
All right. Tamara, great having you on. Great talking with you, and look forward next time we get together.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.